Happy Friday. You are currently watching the illustration block of CG Spectrum's Twitch page. Our host, Eric Wilkerson, one of the instructors here at CG Spectrum for the concept art and illustration. So, let's dive in. So, if you're new to this stream, typically play around with different illustration, like the start of different illustrations, or try to work up pieces to a more refined finish as often as I can. And if you're a regular, then you know I was working on the same image for a couple of weeks, and now I'm kind of bored with it, so I'm going to move on to something else. I'm going to dip back into something that I had started a while ago as a sample, as a little experiment, and I want to try to play with some color on this, work out the lighting and experiment with the color of this piece. So that's what I'm going to do today. And if anyone has any questions about the process, anything at all to know about, please drop a note in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to just keep on painting away, having fun. So, Lindley, hey, how are you? All right. Let's see. First thing I want to do is I might want to just play around with the composition of this piece a little. When I originally did this, it was with the intention of eventually getting a bigger image, more refined painting. I just don't know if I'm going to have the time to do that, so I'm going to just experiment with this being more just a color study. Some people call them color studies, some people call them color sketches, some people call them keyframes, or whatever, however you want to refer to it. It's meant to be a loose painting, not something I would typically bring to a polished finish like I do for out of all of my book cover work. So first thing I want is take it out of this other stuff. So random sketches, a folder full of other images in here. And 17. So first things first is I want to open up a new image that will be 17. Pi. It's a little better. And I'll just turn this one off from it. And shuffle it around a little. Play with the composition. Going for something a little bit more widescreen, a little bit more a cinematic ratio. I'm not too concerned with it being exactly to the proportions of a 1920 1080 HD. Not worried. I just want something that has a little bit of a wider stretch to it. So to on this stuff, and experiment. So if anybody has any questions on anything, just please let me know. Otherwise, it's just going to be me toggling layers off and on while I adjust this to my way I want it. I didn't name all of my layers the way I was supposed to when I started doing this, so this is a result of that. So I'm just going to get in here just for a sec. So I have the colors for the. Let's see, let me think about the colors that I want to do for this. So The idea is that it is a uh, uh, topless, muscle-bound Jedi, some stuff on his head. Maybe he's maybe he's an alien. He's got some horns or some tentacle stuff coming out of the back of his head. Who knows? Um, almost made his way to the escape to the hangar bay. Doors are opening, and he's taking on laser fire from behind him, and he turns around to ignite his saber. So that's kind of the moment that I'm going for, with the lights whizzing past his head, um, striking the door and all that. So the question becomes how to light that, how to light this, so that the character, so that the environment, there's a hierarchy to it. Um, what do I want the viewer to see first, second, third, all that? Um, do I want the scene to be underlit? Do I want there to be some kind of ceiling light, uh, like a brightly lit hallway, or is the entire scene kind of like bathed in red or something like emergency lighting? So I'm going to play around and see what that looks like. Each different color scheme that we play with is going to create a different mood, a different feeling scene. So I have to figure out what I want. Since I don't know what I want, I'm just going to experiment with the same way I did with the last piece. This is going to be like, well, what if I try this? What if I try that kind of scenario? Um, Turning off all the stuff that I don't need, all the shadows and shading that I don't need right now, and just keep it down to its basic line. Moment. What I tend to do is call up old images or reference images. And the thing with Twitch, and I don't know what the rules are, but I can't call up screenshots of some of my favorite movies that I would usually sample my colors from. Um, so I'm going to sample my own artwork and go from there. So let's call up a piece. Going with the idea that the lights are off, emergency lights are on, and the entire scene is underlit. See what that looks like. Okay. I feel like I should have some music playing, but I'm afraid that it's going to distort my audio or do something funky like that, and nobody's going to be able to hear me. So So when I do color sketches, I start by thinking about the mood that I want for the image, what colors I want in the scene, and um, what films might influence what I'm trying to do. And for this, I'm thinking of that for that underlighting effect that I was thinking about. I'm thinking about the carbonite imprisonment scene from Empire Strikes Back, where Han gets, sandwiched, and it's all bathed in this orange lighting, underlighting, and I thought that was really cool. So what I'm going to do is try to capture some of that here. And if you can't see what I'm doing right now, don't worry, you will be able to in a second or in a few minutes as I paint out the original background that's in here. Scale this entire. It's a little big. It's better. It's a little bit smoother. Typically would be listening to movie soundtracks right now, but I'm guessing that's probably legal for this platform, so we won't be doing it. So if you want to call up some Spotify right now and blast some John Williams while I'm rocking out my head painting this, then you go ahead and do that. Let's see. Shadow. Sphere. I like to just build this up very thinly, not really attacking it as much as just thinking through my values as I go. I want this guy to be underlit, but I also want to carve him out of the background so that there's a clear value range. Start. So as I'm painting this, as I'm working this color scheme out, I'm a huge movie fan. So like as I'm doing this, I'm thinking about different sci-fi movies that have had warm industrial palettes. Something that I can look at for inspiration when it comes to painting the guy's face or how the face could potentially be lit. Um, and I know I mentioned Empire Strikes Back, but now I'm also thinking about 3. She's on that prison colony planet. The those industrial workers and stuff had this kind of gritty look to it. I thought that was pretty. So put a little in the sense. I'll leave it. That bother me. So I kind of want that same kind of grating feel, right? And then this would be something I would definitely need reference for, but to see the light from that grating popping up on the pants, that could be a neat effect. Underglow, lighting on the pants. Now we can start to get into what that would do to the hands. So this. I feel like Twitch messes with Photoshop. That's my excuse. That's my I'm sticking with it. It's either that or my computer is crapping out on me. Ah, it's the deal. I love this pen, but this I love this brush, but for some reason whenever I'm live, it doesn't work. Aldera. Hello. I use this brush today, like painting and all kinds of stuff, and then I go live, and then it's like, nah, screw you, guy. don't feel like doing it today. Alright, fine. I'll just use a simple round brush. Can't go wrong with that, right? So that bicep, the chest. I want to push that smoke coming out of the vent. So that's what a chalk brush for right now. Whoever's watching, do you guys have a favorite brush, or do you have a set of brushes that are your go-to brushes out of however many you actually have in your brush folder? I've got a ton, and I just recently started doing this with it. I've got all of these brushes, right? And I don't use half of them. So what I ended up doing was creating a folder called my oil paint brushes, stuff that I could use to mimic that kind of textural effect for my book cover work. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. 10 out of all of that. So if you guys have brushes that make you happy, that give you what you want, stick with them. Unless everything looks like it's the same texture, then stop doing it. Like, find a different brush. Let's see, robots. Take this guy now. I don't know. Let's see. Guess. Scale that. It's like a piece of junk. Okay. You said you, so Lindley's saying, oh, I should probably save this file. That would make sense. Let's see. So I think that's probably what I'll do today is work out this particular color sketch and then uh, work out a different version of the same, work out a different palette for next week so that, because a color sketch for me, something where I'm playing with my colors, my values, typically would only take me about 2 hours. and then I'm going to move on to another uh, version of that, another palette idea, another idea for that sketch. So that's what I'll do. So today it's going to be um, that Empire Strikes Back warm underlighting effect on the body, and go from there. So hope that's okay with you out there in Thailand or Australia or Cleveland or wherever you're coming from. Lindley's saying she loves the chalk brush. You also use some pencil line brushes and you make your own watercolor brush patterns. That's cool. That's very cool. Um, I am all for making custom brushes and experimenting. So many people just they I don't want to call them lazy, they just don't know how, or they don't want to try to make their own custom brushes. They just go, "Ooh, my hero that works at such and such game studio or movie company is selling his brushes on Gumroad. Those will make me a much better painter." No, like a carpenter with a pile of bricks can work magic. Give me a pile of bricks, I'm gonna do nothing with it. Well, you gotta know what you're doing first and foremost. So that's my lecture on brushes today. Welcome. So why is he putting in all that white stuff, that smoky stuff behind? Is that all? It's about carving out character from the environment. I want him to want there to be a bit of contrast there. Opacity, that I really want this kind of plume. And as that's rising, it's losing its brightness, its higher value, so that it starts to thin out. I want to thin out a little. And just to give you a taste of like what I would do with this if like for next week, if I wanted to very, very quickly experiment with a different palette for this, I would say, okay, if I still want to play with the underlighting effect, if let's say this was for a client, they said it 100% has to have that underlighting because that's what it is in the book, that's what it is in the movie or the story or whatever it is that you're doing this sketch for. Then you could say, okay, well, let's play with the color temperature of the entire thing, call up a hue and saturation adjustment layer, and just tweak that beast. That's a whole new instantly, right? So we've gone from that hot to a cold environment where now I could possibly even have like a little bit of, you know, breath coming out. You can see his breath coming out, trail of that. Um, could this be Hoth now? Right? Why would he be topless on Hoth? I don't know. I don't. I'm not. I don't. I don't know. Maybe I would have to paint in a little little life preserver jacket or something, right? But now this background could be, instead of it being outer space with a hangar bay, it can be uh, a hangar bay with like icicles and stuff like that coming down from the roof. Like, it changes it immediately. So what I'll do for that is I will leave this. I'll leave this alone right now. I'm not going to delete this, but I'm going to saturate this because we don't want it to be overly chromatic. We don't want it to be Nickelodeon or Pixar. We don't want to go Pixar with it, but we also don't want to go too desaturated. So somewhere around about there is natural. Is that I'm going to turn that off right now. Go back to the boiler pit. Let's see. Shadow on. Oh no, I haven't worked out the lighting and all that enough to know how that would. Might be a safe bet to say there something. Not that close. Maybe it's a little color. So we want to show that these are panels to this door. So that as well, each of these. Let's see. So we've got this robot, and I like the idea that this dude maybe sliced this thing in half. So parts of this could just completely be shadow. Because it's not super important that we see that entire thing, but this could also be kind of underlit by that grates. Okay, so if this were a color sketch for a future painting, or like from here, then I would, once I've got my values and my colors established, go into finalizing the line of this guy and the environment, maybe perhaps even building some of this in 3D, Blender or Maya or something like that. Um, Dropping in a character, a ZBrush or a DAZ model, doing some light pose of the character to go along with the photo reference that I have here of this dude. Um, but I'm changing the lighting significantly from what is in the photo reference, so I would need an additional model, whether that is a actual person, a 3D model, or even a toy. It's really comes down to what you have access to and what you're comfortable with. If you don't know muscle bound dudes, then you got to hire somebody. Do you know a muscle bound dude? Then you can ask him, hey, can I photograph you flexing? It's all, I guess, all in how you word it so you don't sound like a creep. But don't want that to happen. Let's see. So we've got the red orange. So with the red orange in here, toss in the complementary color. That nice fancy neon. Lightsaber. And play around with the effect that that has on the this side of the body, whether or not you can work out whether or not this is illuminating the arm, or just how much of the light from uh, this hanger bay actually affects or is pouring through this hole in the door. Let's see what that looks like. Let's turn that off actually. Play around with this first. I'm just curious. Yes, actually, it is from Howard Lyons reference packs, and just repurposing it because I didn't want to paint a Viking. That that that's that bores me. So um, make him a Jedi. Take out the tattoos and all that stuff, and let's take another. Let's do another little glow. Ugh, why in the world? So we can play around with that warm, cool relationship here if we wanted to do that. It gives us a little taste of it. But that kind of takes away. That's right. We want to go with that down. So if you've ever been to any kind of convention center, you see how large the ceiling, how high up the ceiling is, and the sense of atmosphere in the space. Like it's just an immense room. And so thinking about that and how I would like to light this floor, or in the room beyond this little hot hallway. So thinking about putting those little spotlights up in the ceiling, that kind of thing. I know that's not like proportionally, it's not, the perspective is off on that, but whatever. I know it's just a place setter for right now, just to give me the feel that I'm trying to go for. And that city. So we want to go for that glow, but I still want to be able to see that lightsaber. So just mask this off. All right. There we go. Okay. So we have that light, this light, this, and so I'm going to say that since the lightsaber is the closest light to his face, even though there's that open door, that that glow, the glow from the lightsaber is overpowering the light from the door. So maybe we can carve out his face a little bit more dramatically. I don't know. I guess it would depend on the angle of the light. If it was coming straight out this, then he's going to be lit by that cool blue light. So it would be this, carving it. which isn't bad. I don't know. What do I? Let's say that the let's say that for right now, let's say that the lighting from the doorway is overpowering the lightsaber. So we've got that. Oops. So at this point, you can kind of see where it's going, right? And um, really, in under an hour, you have uh, the start of something, the start of a color palette or an illustration. Um, Values are more or less there. I've carved out, created value contrast around my character. Um, the only thing really to play with, to push at this point, would be the how that underlighting affects the sliced robots, and whether or not there's any kind of glow around the edge of their bodies, since they're like been recently sliced in half. Um, the vent could probably push the vent light. So take dodge tool and that. There we go. No, I don't like that. It overpowers stuff. Starts to overpower stuff. So we've got a light coming from the hallway, or the not the light, the underlighting effect in the room that he's in. The light coming from hangar bay doors that are opening. Um, then the laser blast, right? You got to put in that laser blast. Right. So the idea then was to put one light source underlighting from the floor as a second light source, and then third light source in the piece would be like laser blast fire, um, whizzing past his head or behind his head, which would give back of his head uh, a blue or red glow, depending on the color of the laser blast. Um, and whatever little computer panel lights and stuff on the doors and all that. So yeah, I'm gonna just keep on going. Now, this is just one way of doing things. If you want to just start off by having your line work and scribbling various colors in there until you get something that works for you, then great. Um, I like to expedite the process and just drop in a an abstract shape close up of my reference material or whatever that reference material may be, a screenshot, a piece of an old painting of mine, something like that, and just color pick from that until I get the result that I'm looking for. So at the end of the day, there's no part of that original uh, reference image in your painting, in your color sketch, but it served its purpose. So let's see. So another way you can figure out the palette for something, which is can be a fun experiment, is to sit and play with um, adjustment layers, your image. Let's see. I now I can't decide between a warm or a cool. It's gonna drive me crazy, but it's in there, so come back to it later. Um, real goal here was to play with that skin tone. Overall, get a- So I'm gonna take a 5 minute break, right back, go anywhere, and you might win $100. No, no, guaranteed. The mic was off. All right, back in business. Let's just polish up this thing. So if I were going to do a illustration of this character, this would be more or less the level of finish I would bring the color sketch to for approval. I'm just going to keep on going on the guy, working out some of the lights and all that stuff on the face and steam and stuff. All right, so that's more or less where I'm going to stop today. Just exploring color that I can apply to the scene. And from here, I would maybe put in some extra glows or lights or whatever in there. But really trying to make the floor feel like the dominant light source in the scene that is creating this underglow. Having that light spill up into their face, onto those clothing, underside of these robot carcasses and all that stuff. Play with how that light doorway affects the body. And you know, a lot of that would have to then be referenced in addition to the reference that I have for the body. I would have to gather or pose myself with a glowing light source closer to my body so that I could see how that green light would affect the corner of my face, or whether or not more powerful light off to my right side would overpower the lightsaber. Because that kind of nitpicky attention to detail is something that would drive me crazy if I was wrong. So, because I don't want some Uber fan to say, well, actually, the lightsaber is no. I don't want to have that conversation with anyone. So, I want to make sure that every part of the piece is properly lit, properly referenced, and that you believe that the guy is about to engage some kind of adversary off camera. So from here, I would keep on building it up. Laser blasts, dents, holes in the doors, sparks on the walls, sparks probably coming from the robots, all that stuff to imply that they are recently sliced. But this is the start of what that would be. So, um, hope that everyone watching this has a good day, a good weekend whenever you watch this or watch it. Um, and I to oh, so Lindley, thank you for joining me again. Appreciate it. And yeah, you have a good weekend too. I will see you in class next week. Have fun with your, I guess you're working up sketches for your next piece. So have fun working on that, and I will talk to you soon.